We're going to try this again, guys. Jeez Louise. Well, I guess that's how long it's been. Let this thing warm up, see if I can't get some people on. Sorry about the confusion. You guys see me, hear me? Hi, what's going on, Jesus? Yes, I'm back, man. I think I got this figured out. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let this thing warm up a minute before I start chatting away. Been a long time since I went on live on YouTube from the PC, so had to do a little problem solving tonight. So how was everybody's Christmas? You guys all have a good Christmas? Can everybody hear me and see me? Cool. That's nice to hear. Let me tell you, I was wrestling with that thing for a second. It's weird how YouTube requires you to integrate like a third-party app, which is OBS, instead of just being able to go live from your webcam and YouTube. But hey, they're the trillion-dollar company. You'd think they'd be able to figure that part out. But anywho, how was your Christmas, Jesus? Everybody looking forward to the new year? I know 2024 went by blazing fast, especially if you were down here in Florida, especially towards the end of the year. All the hurricanes really just, man, everything was a complete blur in October and November. It is good to get back to a little bit of normalcy, though. But what I want to start doing is a little bit more of the lives. I used to do more lives back in the day, and I do want to get back into that. So you guys are welcome to ask any questions. I'm letting this thing warm up. I didn't give anybody any notice with this particular live stream because I wasn't really expecting to go live tonight. But I was sitting here and I'm like, man, I want to get it set up, get back to doing these things. So I did that, and lo and behold, here we are. Next time I'll give you guys a lot more notice so that way we get a bunch more engagement on here. So wintertime fishing in the Tampa Bay, guys. Right now, the fishing has been pretty good, actually. Where our cold fronts have been pretty mild. We have, our temperatures aren't fluctuating a whole lot. Not a whole lot of crazy cold fronts. But the sheep's head, the trout, redfish have all been really, really good. But even more so near shore, the hogfish bite has been phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of addicted to fishing for them hogfish. They're a prize fish, a little bit more difficult to get on hook and line, and not just because they don't, it's not because they don't eat the bait. I think that was an old folklore or something, because it's not true. They definitely will eat the bait. The biggest problem with catching hogfish out there is that you get a lot of bycatch, and you got to go through that bycatch, and you got to be willing to put the time in, because if you don't, you're just not going to get them. So when you're going out there and hog fishing, you got to expect that if you got 2 people or 3 people, you're going to need at least 15 dozen shrimp. So it's a lot of bait. You'll catch a lot of porgies. You'll catch a lot of white grunts, grouper. God, the grouper are so thick out there. And other various snappers like lane snapper and mangrove snapper. They're super abundant offshore, and they also like shrimp. So have been getting some charter inquiries. It's typically a lot slower this time of year, especially right after Christmas. But if you're interested in doing any type of charter, it's...
Not you, can you have an indoor?
Okay. Sorry, guys. Someone just ran right into the...
I don't think I've ever been to the door closed like this. Which light switch?
Chartering.
Come on. Come on.
Sorry, guys. So we got a lot of family in town, and it's very noisy around here. But anyhow, back to what I was saying. I kid you not. I think my grandmother just walked through a glass door. Oh, I shouldn't even be laughing about that, but I can't make that stuff up. But anyway, what was I saying? So we're out here in the Tampa Bay. We're getting some charter inquiries. It's starting to, people are getting ready for that. I'm getting a lot of inquiries about spring fishing, but wintertime fishing is really good. I mean, it can be a little slower, obviously, because the temperatures are cool. But if you're interested in like sheepshead, right now they're in full-blown spawn, and sheephead fishing can be a lot of fun. So if you want to do that, all you have to do is book saltyscalescharter.com or inquire there, and we'll get you out there to catch some sheepshead. They're a little bit more challenging, so you do have to bring your A game when you're sheephead fishing. But as you could tell in some of those last episodes, if you've been watching my videos, by the way, what do y'all think about the new videos that I've been releasing? I see that the watch time's pretty good on them, so it seems like y'all have been liking what you're seeing. But let me know, drop a comment if you like what you're seeing. If you have an idea for a topic that you want to see, you're welcome to drop it here as well. Maybe we'll do that. But yeah, make sure you guys check out saltyscalescharter.com. And also, guys, we just dropped a brand new shirt. It's a hogfish design. Really like it. You guys have seen it. It's the red shirt that I wear with the hood. That was a prototype a while back ago, but we did get a few hundred of those in. They will sell fast. And I don't know if we're going to bring them back in stock. I don't know if this is going to be a one-time order or not. So get them while you can, because we may not reorder them. I think in 2025, we're going to do something a little different on the apparel side of things too. I think we're going to be doing like new designs and then only limiting them to a certain amount, a certain quantity, and then we're going to make them obsolete and bring in new designs. That's the idea anyway. I'm not sure if that's what we're going to do or not. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I've been motivated to put out new content, and it definitely helps when you guys interact and, you're liking, commenting, and things like that, letting me know what you like, what you dislike. That helps me, gives me direction as to what kind of content to make. Because as you know, this stuff's time consuming. I do it because I enjoy it, but it does take up a whole lot of time and resources. So I want to put stuff out there that you guys are wanting to see instead of just blindly doing things. I'm thinking about doing some kayak content soon, and I know a lot of you guys have been wanting some pier fishing content, so maybe I'll do some Skyway stuff here in the near future, or some shore fishing, that type of stuff. But just let me know. Again, I didn't expect a whole lot of traffic on this particular live stream. Typically, I have to let everybody know a few days in advance and, you know, schedule a time, and that really helps get people on the platform here. Plus, it's a little later than I would typically do a live stream too. But trout fishing has been phenomenal, guys. I'm not seeing any signs of red tide around the bay, which is good, because it was lingering offshore there quite a bit. There was, you know, a big fish kill just 8 miles off the coast there. We had to watch it go through it every time we'd go to the hogfish holes. But luckily, I haven't seen anything crazy in terms of dead fish or smells. So inside the bay, everything's really good. The trout fishing's been really good, especially in that 1 to 3 foot range. They're really getting up there in the shallows. The bigger fish like to sit in those shallow waters. And what's cool is you could sight fish those fish, and they're pretty aggressive, especially the trout. But grouper, man, that grouper bites so good. They really did us dirty by shutting those grouper down. As you can tell, if you watch that last short that I posted today, Chris caught a nice 27-inch gag. That was in 4 feet of water. We were fishing for snook and redfish. That's how abundant they are, guys. You're literally catching those grouper accidentally when you're fishing for other fish. So 412. But the Tampa Bay grouper fishery is phenomenal. I imagine, you know, I don't really agree with the closure. I think those fish are very abundant, but perhaps, you know, when they do open it on a positive note, it's going to be that much better. But the light tackle shallow water grouper fishing is some of the most fun. If you've never done it, highly recommend you try it. Yeah, I've done quite a few polls. You know, you'd be surprised. They're always very close to, you know, in between land-based fishing, inshore fishing, and kayak fishing. So, you know, that's the thing. It's hard to, you know, cater to all of them. But I like kind of what I'm doing right now. I've been, you know, sticking to a theme. Like, for example, the sheep's head snapper. And I've been doing a few videos on that theme and then moving to the next one. So that's why I'm interested in what kind of ideas that you guys want to see, or you know, for content, because then I can make a series of videos based around that content. You know, one thing I was also thinking about doing is a Skyway kayak video. I think that'd be kind of unique, and I haven't seen a whole lot of that done. Actually, I haven't seen any of that done. But break out the big old town and go out to the Skyway Bridge and do some fishing. Only thing about that, you know, people don't realize how big of the sharks we have in the bay. Sometimes they make you a little leery being out there next to a 12-foot shark. And I've seen them on the boat, and they make you feel small. I can only imagine how they make you feel on a kayak. We got a lot of bull sharks and a lot of hammerhead sharks. So, gonna break in this new year with some fresh new content though. Definitely looking forward to it. I did add a new Seakeeper tabs on my boat. I'm gonna be doing a video on that soon, guys. Anyone who's looking to get a boat, man, those Seakeeper tabs are really cool and they really change the ride. So I'm definitely excited about telling you about that. Snook fishing's been pretty slow, but up in the rivers, they are stacked up in the rivers, especially if you could get some whitebait, guys. Make sure you're going and checking out. It's perfect time to do some of these dock fishing, you know, do different dock fishing, not only for snook, but the sheep's head are all over the residential docks right now. So just be mindful that you don't tick anybody off, because some people they think they own the waters. But I think as long as you're being courteous and you're not hooking up on their dock and stuff, there should be no problems. So drop some comments, guys. You got any questions? Let me know. I'm here to answer them. Like I said, I'm testing out this whole setup tonight. I think overall the picture quality is pretty good. Might need to add a little more light. Don't mind all the mess in the background either. Like I said, we got family and friends all in, and they've kind of taken over my office. What about freshwater fishing, guys? Would y'all like to see some freshwater fishing? I was thinking about changing it up, doing some freshwater fishing. I do like to get out there and do that every now and then. But really depends on y'all. I know freshwater fishing has never been that great on the channel, but I think I'll tell you right now, Jesus, the pompano, if you want pompano, I know they're over at the power plant. So you get one of those dock jigs with a little teaser feather, and you bounce that thing around the power plant, you should be able to get pompano. They like that warm water discharge just like everything else. And not only pompano, but there's some permit over there as well. So, but use that jig, you're going to catch an array of different things, everything from tarpon to ladyfish and big jack crebill that are over there as well. But the key with catching them over there is you really got to try to get it on the bottom. And as long as you're not fishing that mid-water column, you shouldn't hook up with too many jacks and things like that. But if you start working it fast and getting it high in that water column, you're going to catch those big old jacks, and those things are on light gear. They take 30, 40 minutes to get in. I know there was a pretty healthy pompano run a couple months ago, though, over there in Fort DeSoto, around all the big bridges over there. You can always get into some really nice pompano during the right season. But right now, the power plant, check out the power plant, and you'll find some pomps for sure. That reminds me, I might get out there and do something for pompano, because I haven't done anything really on the channel. I guess I have. I've done a few videos back in the day on pompano, but it's been a while. What other videos or types of content do you guys want to see? How long you been a subscriber, Jesus? I haven't seen you on any of the videos comments. So if you're looking for whitebait, guys, Skyway Bridge. A lot of people are always asking where the whitebait is this time of year. Go to the Skyway Bridge or the pier, and you're going to find your pilchards and things like that. I appreciate that, Jesus. I do find it interesting that YouTube likes to promote some of my older content. I'm talking content from like 10 years ago. I've been on this platform what seems like forever. But some weeks they'll promote old content, some weeks they'll promote new content. It's actually really bizarre how they do what they do. But yeah, I think I've even, some of my old content, I've done some teaser, how to tie some teasers for pompano, things like that. I'll have to really go back and look. I mean, I have over 800 videos at this point, so I know I've surely done some pompano content. If not, that would be a shame. One of the better eating fish, right up there next to hogfish and things like that. Yeah, a lot of people find me off the Skyway pier videos, and it's a shame because I grew up out there. I mean, I was a little kid out there, believe it or not, fishing. I would stay the entire weekend and fish pretty much every weekend. Just a shame what's going on with the bridge and how they're not repairing it. They're allowing the structure to fall. They're not, repairing the pilings and things like that. Because back in the day when the east span was open and both sides were open, you could go out there and limit out just about anything. Cobia, grouper, snapper, you could catch snook, sheephead. I mean, you name it, it's out there. And it still is. It's very difficult to fish now with, the one side, all the extra people, and of course the dolphins that are insanely aggravating. The dolphins are out of control. But I'll tell you, some of my fondest memories, that bridge probably kept me out of a lot of trouble when I was a kid. And I'd like to see it stay around, but when you get up under that thing or close to it when you're catching bait on the boat, I don't know how much longer they're going to allow that thing to stay open, because they shut the east span down due to the fact that the integrity of the structure was not there. If you look at the south, the west span there, and that integrity is not too much better. So I can only imagine it's a matter of time before they shut that down. And it's sad because that's a really awesome landmark, and probably one of the best piers to fish, especially for diversity, next to like Keys fishing. Yeah, I've spent so much time at Skyway Piers. That's what a lot of people always ask. They're like, man, I go out to the piers and I never catch anything. What am I doing wrong? Well, some of the biggest things that I see people doing wrong is, they want to use trout, and they want to use those big old rigs from like Walmart that are wired leader with snap swivels. Well, the water is typically a lot clearer out there. You really got to downsize things. You have to make sure you're using the right rigs. You need to be fishing over structure or under the bridge next to structure. You got to figure out how to out trick the dolphins because they're menacing. But there's so many good rock piles out there. I mean, you could really catch some big grouper out there. I've caught some really awesome fish out there. But the biggest thing is just persistence, and a lot of people don't want to. They don't want to, stay out there and continue to do what you got to do in order to catch them. But there's fish to be caught for sure, and a lot of people sleep on the inshore. Right there, right when you get on the pier. Those first few pilings and that first 8 pilings as you get on the bridge. I've caught so many big tarpon under them lights, and I've caught so many big snook. And speaking of pompano, the pompano are all over those first and second lights in the summertime and springtime, right around that area. Used to catch so many pompano right there. But if you're persistent and you stick with it, there's definitely fish to be caught out there. And again, it's one of the most unique places. There's very few places in the world that you could drive out essentially into the middle of a bay and catch keeper grouper, keeper snapper, snook, tarpon. I mean, the Goliath groupers that frequent that pier are absolutely insane. All you got to do is throw down a big ray or bonita or Jack Crevalle and you'll find him, or he'll find you. So the diversity and all the cool things that you could do out there are really cool. But the bay in general is I would love to see it do better. I mean, I think we could have a really good fishery if we could get them to stop dumping, the fertilizer and all of the, the spills that they have so frequently. But I know Chris is starting up a new foundation. It's called Water Warriors Tampa Bay, and he's wanting to get into where they can, all around the country, there's release programs. They do it really well in Texas, where they release like 50,000 redfish every year in Texas. And Texas red fishing is some of the best I've seen, next to Louisiana and stuff like that, of course. But the Tampa Bay could have a great fishery. So he started this program to where he could release some of these redfish and snook and help grow those numbers. But what I would really like to see is some more fight for stopping the dumpings and maybe oyster and grass rehabilitation, that type of area, in the areas, and just really getting the water clean along the bay. So Jesus, what I learned is that, fish, and I teach this on my charters all the time. Fish do not feed all the time. Fish feed during major and minor periods, sunset and sunrise, and fish feed when there is an easy opportunity. So when I would go to a rock pile, I would free line out about 200 yards, and I would pull it in, and I would free line out 200 yards. And what I would do is I would try to correlate these times with a sunrise, sunset, major and minor feeds. And you're going to get about an hour and a half to 2 hours of great fishing. So you could go and free line that 2 or 3 times, 200 yards along that rock pile. If you don't get a hit, I move over during those times. And typically, back in the day, believe it or not, I could limit out in grouper. 5 grouper was easy off the bridge when both spans were open. I had a forum, probably don't know this, but purefishingguide.com. And I had a lot of people following me on Pure Fishing Guide, and that was a forum. And a lot of people would come fish with me out there. And they just couldn't believe that you could limit out in grouper right off a fishing pier. And I'm talking big grouper. Some of these grouper were 34, 36 inches. So we've always had great quality fish right there, but you got to spend a little time in free line. And the thing is, your free line cadence has to be right. If you're holding too much tension on that bait, it don't matter how many times you free line that baby. It's just not going to get down there to the grouper. It's going to look weird, and you're just not going to get the bite. You have to feed line, and you have to have I think even more so, you have to have a spunky pinfish. And that was what was nice, is back in the day when that span was open, I could cast that pinfish, and I had little sweet spots in each of the rock piles. And I'd cast that pinfish, and when that pinfish hits the water, he shoots straight down. He doesn't know what's under. He shoots straight down, and a lot of times in those sweet spots on those different rock piles, I'd get the hit instantaneously when he'd get to the bottom or close to the bottom. And it's because he didn't know he was swimming right into the grouper's lair, but he was doing it with so much vibration that it would just trigger the strike every time. But if you're out there and the tide is ripping and you're barely free lining and your bait's coming up to the surface, it's going to be very hard to get that bite. What I like is a nice, right before that transition. So an hour before that transition, whether going in or out, I like that time period to catch those grouper, because them grouper, they come up out of the rock piles and then they're more apt to feeding instead of trying to fight that current. And that applies on the boat too, guys. Whether it's offshore or in the bay, but In the bay, our current is a lot stronger, I feel, than it is offshore most of the time. And obviously that's because it's going through a tight corridor. So it's like everything, you know, when you got water going up or down near a river, it's going to be flowing that much faster. But offshore, when you have an expansive area of water, it's not moving nearly as fast as what it would be in the bay. So let that water slow down, then try your free line. You'll get have a lot more success doing that. But them grouper, man, there's a bunch of them out there right now. Just make sure if you're catching them, guys, get them back in the water real quick. I mean, we don't want to kill them. Definitely let them, you know, get their reprieve. You know, catch them, let them go, and let them keep procreating. Hopefully, you know, even though I think the scientific data was skewed, maybe in the long run it'll just make our grouper fishery that much better. So, well, been on here about 30 minutes, guys. I just wanted to break the ice. I definitely plan to get on here more often. Definitely hope to get more engagement as we start to do so. And that'll motivate me to get on here that much more. So I hope to see all you guys on the videos themselves. Make sure you're commenting. It really helps. Like and share. It really helps, you know, keep us motivated. Keeps me motivated to keep pumping out good content, and it just helps the page grow. So, all right, guys. I hope you guys have a great evening. And until next time, I do have a video dropping tomorrow, I think on 11. So make sure you watch that. And until next time, I'll see you guys on the water.